What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. As today, I'm going to be talking about Wrestlemania 42. I know the last time I did a video like this was a couple months ago, but a lot of things have definitely changed in the landscape of professional wrestling, especially on the WWE side of things, with the return of AJ Lee and other things that events that may have happened as well. So I'm going to be talking about Wrestlemania 42, give you guys my thoughts and my opinions and my predictions for the card that we could be expecting. And also, I probably will do another update video as we get closer to the Royal Rumble, or maybe right after the Royal Rumble. So stay tuned for that whenever I do decide to drop that video. Now, I did try to make it as much even as I can for WrestleMania 42. So, also, you guys comment down below and chime in as well and get your thoughts and your fantasy booking caps on and predict WrestleMania 42 as well. I would love to get your thoughts on that as well, and I'll maybe even react to them. So, only time we'll definitely try to make that happen if I'm able to. But the first match that I'm going to be talking about to kick off night one for the Women's World Championship. I have Stephanie McCourt walking in as champion to face the Elimination Chamber winner, none other than Rhea Ripley. I think they have definitely set this up numerous times. We've seen numerous encounters, numerous teases, and I feel like it's inevitable that it will happen at some way, shape, or form in the near future. I think Rhea has made it very clear she definitely wants that championship. She wants that title back, so we definitely could set this up. I don't think it'll be a situation where Rhea Ripley maybe wins the Rumble or anything like that. Why? Because she's already done that. I feel like why not give her another accolade that she has not accomplished yet, and that is her winning the Elimination Chamber. Especially with it being in Chicago, and the fans do really love them some Rhea Ripley. I feel like wherever she goes, her presence is felt. The crowd is definitely behind her. She has the momentum on her side. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere anytime soon, and I do think you're gonna continue this momentum going into next year. And I do think she's definitely going to be a huge focal point still in the women's division. And I do think you do set things up between her and Stephanie for the Women's World Championship come WrestleMania 42. But the next match that we're going to be talking about is for the World Tag Team Championships. We have the New Day versus Fraxium versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. I do think at some point by the end of the year, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker will become your tag team champions and take the tag titles from the Judgment Day. Whether that's going to be on a two-on-two tag match or maybe a multi-man tag match, some way, shape, or form, I do think they're trying to do what they can to get those tag titles onto Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and I do think they deserve it. I think they've definitely been getting a lot more momentum. They've been getting a lot more wins. At the time of recording the video, we just seen Crown Jewel, and we seen Roman Reigns fall to Bronson Reed, and Bronson Reed got the win as he should. And I think you can continue building momentum like they have been, and maybe put the tag titles in them, and have a prophecy where the pretty much the vision is holding gold going into WrestleMania. So I do think that's something we gotta put in consideration as a potential match come WrestleMania 42. The next match that we're gonna be talking about is a faction versus faction type of match, almost a cool down type of match. I have the Wyatt Six versus the MFT with Nia Jax. Now calm down. I know people might be screaming right now, why are we getting this match? We've already seen the first tease of it on SmackDown that they're going to be doing the Wyatt Six versus MFT. But you also got to think, before we get to that, they're going to probably have MFT challenge for the tag titles. And then after that, maybe then we can start leaning into the idea of them, the faction versus faction. But here's the thing. If we do the faction versus faction, we do know that Nikki Cross is part of the Wyatt Six, and she is the woman part of the faction. Now, if we're going to do this, we're going to need somebody to be a woman on that side. Now, you could have had somebody like a Naomi do this, but I don't think, but with her being pregnant, she's not going to be able to make it. So what's the next best thing? Maybe you do a Tamina, but I think Tamina's kind of just gone at this point. I don't think she's going to be coming back anytime soon. So the next big thing is Nia Jax. It gives her something to do at WrestleMania. Plus, she did say in an interview, I think a couple months ago or something like that, where she said if Solo ever needed help or anything like that, or ever wanted a woman to be part of the faction, she would be more than willing to align with them. And I think she is family, so why not make that opportunity and make that a reality? And I think this can be something potentially interesting if they were to do so. So I definitely think that it's going to be a faction versus faction match in some way, shape, or form. But y'all can let me know, how do you guys feel about it in the comment section down below. The next match that we're going to be talking about is for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. We have AJ Lee versus Roxanne Perez. Now, I feel as if between now and maybe by the end of the year, potentially, or even going into Royal Rumble season, AJ Lee is going to take the tag title, not the tag title, the Intercontinental Championship. Sorry. She's going to take the Intercontinental Championship from Becky Lynch. I do think they're definitely leaning into that and they're teasing that because we did see AJ Lee take the Intercontinental Championship and put it around her waist and she was walking around with it. So I feel like they're leaning into that slowly but surely. And I do think by this will be a good thing for her. This gives the opportunity for the Intercontinental Championship to get more prestige, more relevance, and get more, more eyes on it because it's on another potential good star in AJ Lee. And we all know when AJ Lee came back, the one match that people really wanted to see is her versus Roxanne Perez. Teacher versus student. Roxanne Perez looked up to AJ Lee for so long, who was a trailblazer for Roxanne Perez, who pretty much inspired her to get into wrestling. And now all of a sudden, years and years later, we're finally seeing those two go at it. And you can set this match up potentially if you want to have it go this way. If you have the Royal Rumble, right? You can set this up by having Roxanne eliminate AJ Lee in that match, and then you can set up from there going into WrestleMania. I think that's what you honestly could do if you really wanted to do that. And I think people would really be invested in it as well because I think it's a dream match. It's a dream match, and you can have Roxanne Perez, win this match and be a new star has been made because of that, and she can definitely benefit by being elevated in a situation like that. So I definitely think that is a match that I think will most likely happen come WrestleMania 42. Now, the next match that we're going to be talking about is a 6-man ladder match for the United States Championship. I have Sami Zayn going in as United States Champion versus Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu, Damian Priest, The Miz, Carmelo Hayes, and Chris Jericho. Yes, you heard it here. Again, Chris Jericho makes his return and goes over to SmackDown and gets into contention for the United States Championship. I think this would be a great way to reintroduce him, getting him into some type of storyline and get him into some type of match going into WrestleMania where he may not have to do as much on whatnot. But I think that is a match I think I would love to see. Sami Zayn has been doing some interesting work with the United States Championship as of late with his open challenges, introducing newer stars like Javon Evans and just to name a few. I think he has a lot more legs to his championship reign. I'm looking forward to see what they end up doing with this championship reign going forward. I think him and Drew McIntyre would be a good match as well, and I think this would be a great way to get Drew McIntyre in the mix. I know people want to see him, potentially go after the World Championship, which I'm not mad at, but I feel like at the same time, I would love to see Drew McIntyre potentially become a U.S. champion and become a Grand Slam champion as well. So I definitely got to put him in there. Jacob Fatu, you can't bet against him. Maybe he does move over to Raw potentially. I don't know, but I feel like if he's to stay over on SmackDown, I think I can see him doing that. Damian Priest as well, and I think you could throw in Aleister Black as well in the conversation as a challenger for the U.S. Championship going into Mania. So I think that's probably what I'm going to be leaning into. I forgot I didn't put Aleister in here, but Aleister is officially entered in the United States Championship ladder match, making a 7-man ladder match. But that's kind of my ladder match or championship match for the U.S. title, what I can see them doing going into Mania. But going on to the next match, which is a number 1 contenders match for the Women's World Championship. We have a triple threat with Asuka versus Kairi Sane versus Io Sky. The Kabuki Warriors are no more. None. Nobody. Nothing left. And you have all three going their separate ways, but they all meet back for one opportunity. All of them want to become women's champion. All of them want to prove that they are the best in the women's division. We have all of those three culminate at WrestleMania. We're in for a treat, you guys. We're in for an instant classic match. I'm telling you, don't doubt me. This match is gonna cook if we could get all three of these women in the same ring, going after each other, tearing each other apart with the goal of becoming a women's champion in the future. Hey, I mean, would I be mad at that? No. Would you guys be mad at that? Let me know in the comment section down below. And then the final match to kick off and end night 1 for the World Heavyweight Championship. We got Seth Rollins walking in as world champion, defending against the Royal Rumble winner, the OTC, the tribal chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. I do think Roman Reigns is going to win the world championship again at some point in the near future. I think with WWE trying to get more creative in play and trying to fix the creative, I think this will be something really, really interesting to see play out on screen. I think Roman Reigns needs to get his redemption against Seth Rollins. I think he needs to overcome Seth Rollins just as Seth Rollins has overcome none other than Cody Rhodes. I think it's safe to say Roman Reigns needs to follow suit and do the same thing, get his revenge, overcome the odds, and beat the one man he's not been able to beat thus far when it matters the most. So I do think they're going to set things up, and I think Roman Reigns is going to win the Royal Rumble. I know people want to see Sammy, but I don't think they're going to do that at this point right now. I think maybe down the line potentially, maybe we're going into WrestleMania 43. I can see them doing that considering WrestleMania will be in Saudi. But I think Roman Reigns is the safe option. It makes the most sense. It makes storyline sense as well. And it is one of the biggest matches you can put on for the World Championship going into WrestleMania 42 next year. And then moving on to night 2 we're starting off with a triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship. On the men's side of things, we have AJ Styles versus Ilya Dragunov versus Austin Theory for the Intercontinental Championship. I do think between now and end of the year, AJ Styles potentially becomes your new Intercontinental Champion. Now, if it's not John Cena, I do think AJ Styles, with the momentum that he just garnered with having the match that he did with John Cena at Crown Jewel, could continue that momentum, have him go after the Intercontinental Championship and win it this time around, and have him go into Mania as Intercontinental Champion, and have him go up against Ilya Dragunov, which would be really cool. Austin Theory being in the mix would be cool. Penta being in the mix would be cool. Even Rusev. I think any one of those plethora of names you throw in there, I think would be very, very interesting to have. So why not do that? It gives more eyes on the Intercontinental Championship as well. But I think that's kind of what I'm gonna go with. I was gonna say triple threat, but as I'm talking about it, make it a fatal 5-way. Throw Penta and Rusev in there as well. So that's kind of the match that I'm going to go with. The next match that we're going to be talking about is for the women's tag team titles. I have Becky Lynch and Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley. Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I know people are going to be trying to come at me, pause, because of what I'm saying here. I think Bayley will turn on Lyra at some point by the end of the year. And I think if Becky loses the Intercontinental Championship, she's going to need something to do. Why not let her, with the current iteration that she's in, what she's been able to do for the Intercontinental Championship, let her see if she can do the same thing with the women's tag team titles as well. Put her as a heel, Bayley on a downward spiral. She's pretty much, crazy and having the split personality gimmick. Maybe she does turn heel and aligns with Becky. And then you can have Lyra going after, Bayley, but she's dealing with Becky at the same time, and she has to call from somebody that she can actually trust, and it is Tatum Paxley. They have history going back to NXT, so why not bring Tatum Paxley up from NXT and put her over on Raw or something like that, and have her team with Lyra? I think the crowd can definitely get behind those two as a potential tag team, so why not actually go forth and do that? I think that can get a lot of people talking for sure. So that's my prediction, is what I think is going to happen with the women's tag title going into WrestleMania. The next match that I have is a no-holds-barred match with Charlotte Flair versus Alexa. Now, this is one of those matches that did not change from my last prediction. I think it's still going to happen. I do think we're going to see those two lose the tag titles at some point in the near future. Now, I think a lot of people on paper would think Charlotte would be the one to turn, but I think they would do something bold and have Alexa be the one to turn on Charlotte, and then you can have Charlotte go in as the face, facing none other than Alexa. And if you want it, you can make this a number one contender match as well, depending on who's the women's champion, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But you can make this a number one contendership match as well if you really wanted to. So I definitely think that match will happen. I think the turn will happen maybe in the lead up to WrestleMania itself. Maybe we start teasing it at the Royal Rumble by having maybe Alexa or Charlotte maybe eliminate each other from the Royal Rumble, and that's kind of how we get the ball rolling on that storyline. But we will see. But the next match that I'm going to be talking about is a submission match. We have Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. This is the match I think a lot of people really wanted to see. I think people really want to see this match since WrestleMania 40. We all thought we were going to get that match, but unfortunately we didn't. So I think it's safe to say we're going to get it here now that Brock Lesnar is back. And I think people would definitely be keen on the idea. I think even it would make it even more interesting if this is like a submission match, considering you have the sleeper hold versus the Coquina clutch. Um, I think that's what it's called. No, I think Coquina clutch is I think Samoa Joe's or whatnot. But you know what I mean. I don't know his submission move. You could probably can let me know in the comment section down below. I haven't really seen him use a submission in a long time. So, but yeah, I do think that match will happen. You could make this, like I said, this would be an interesting match, like having this a submission match. But only time will tell if that does come to fruition. But I do expect them in some way, shape, or form or capacity to have a match come WrestleMania 42. And then the next match is for the WWE Women's Championship. I have Bianca Belair winning the Women's Championship at some point. I do think she will return by the end of the year, potentially, hopefully, fingers crossed. That if she is coming back, I do think she's gonna come back as a heel. Though I think, depending on who's champion, I think either it's gonna be Tiffany Stratton or it's gonna be Jade Cargill, because I did hear there are rumblings that Jade Cargill might win the championship against Tiffany at Saturday Night Main Event. So if that is going to be the case, you can have either one of those scenarios happen where Jade loses to Bianca or Tiffany loses to Bianca, wherever, however you want to go about it. That's their debacle. But I do think Bianca will turn heel, win the championship, go into WrestleMania as champion to face the Royal Rumble winner, Liv Morgan. I think Liv Morgan, it's her time. I think she's going to win the Royal Rumble. I think she's definitely going to get a huge face pop when she does come back. And I think this is a match that I think we've never gotten in WWE. We have not gotten this match. I know a lot of people want to see matches that we have not seen, and that's the whole thing about having some of these matches on Mania. This is a match that in the women's division, when you think of top stars, you do think of Liv Morgan, whether if you want to admit it or not. She has put herself in that conversation and has elevated herself to be in that conversation. She's competed with some of the biggest names in the division, from Rhea Ripley to Io, just to name a few, to Bayley, to Becky, and stuff, and so on and so forth. But the one person that Liv has never faced, and the one person that Bianca's never faced, is Liv Morgan. This is and we've seen the first tease of this going at Chamber this past year. They had a interesting dynamic. They had interesting chemistry with each other, mind you. The little final sequence between Bianca and Liv, it left me wanting more and wanting me to see these two face each other one-on-one. And I think these two can actually put up an interesting, compelling storyline and match as well going into WrestleMania. So if I was to pick the match that I really want to see dream match the most, I know people are going to say Bianca and Rhea, which still can potentially happen. But I think they're going to say that for a later down the line at a later event. But for me personally, it is Bianca and Liv Morgan for me. Sign me up all day, every day. It's her time. Liv Morgan comes back, wins the Rumble, punches her ticket to WrestleMania. And in the main event of the evening for the WWE Championship, I have a triple threat match. I have Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton versus CM Punk. Now, let me tell you how this is going to happen. Well, apparently, the Elimination Chamber next year will be in Chicago. I think CM Punk wins that, right? He wins the Elimination Chamber. He sets his sights against Cody Rhodes, because they did tease it going into WrestleMania potentially for this year. But what happens is Cody Rhodes has a match against Randy Orton in the instant shenanigans, and therefore Randy's still in the hunt to try to get another rematch. CM Punk is trying to get a match against Cody. He picks Cody, and Randy Orton's not too keen of that. He's trying to attack CM Punk, and it spoils over to the point it starts to get out of hand between all three guys and whatnot. And to the point, Nick Aldis says, you know what, enough is enough. If CM Punk, you have your match against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, but Randy Orton, you have some valid points based off what happened in your match against Cody with some shenanigans happening there. Therefore, this will be a triple threat match at WrestleMania 42 for the WWE Championship. Now, I mean, I think that's an interesting match. I think there's a lot of story there that you could potentially tell if you really wanted to. You could tell the story between Cody and Randy. There, you have a little bit of history between Cody and Punk, Randy and Punk as well, letting all those stories potentially mix together, and I think we can get an interesting match and story as well. But those are my predictions for WrestleMania 42 next year. You guys can comment down below. How do you guys feel about my predictions for WrestleMania 42? Do you agree? Do you not agree? What would you change and why? Are you guys what? And also comment down below your WrestleMania 42 predictions as well. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions, and your fantasy book can be put on and see what you guys can come up with, and I might even react to it. So definitely stay tuned for that. But with that being said, super kick that like button, Superman punch that post notification bell, and spear the subscribe button. Takes 3 seconds out of your day. Do those 3 things for me, helps in the progression of my channel as well. But with that being said, hope everybody has a great day, good rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next video.